you saw the Trump universal health care thing that they're talking about now?
Where are they talking about a Trump universal healthcare thing?
I watched it on CNN a while back. They were talking about it. There's nothing set in stone, but I really hope that keeps in that direction.
So
Because I think
you're in favor of universal healthcare?
it's got to be done. It has to be done right. Has to be done right.
And you think Trump is in
Uh,
favor of universal healthcare?
I he has never came out and said it. I heard that he talked about it on CNN. So you know, it's a big news company. You never know.
Two in a row? Two in a row that are in favor of universal healthcare, and they think Donald Trump wants to do universal healthcare. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna go insane. I'm gonna go insane. I'm gonna lose it. What am I gonna do? What am I supposed to do to combat this? Welcome to Drolla Politics. I'm editing this video while traveling, but we are going to keep journeying into the mind of the median voter. Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. This is painful to hear, but these are the conversations we need to have.
I heard you talking about the oil and gas industry, and as somebody who's been part of that industry in both administrations, the Trump and Biden, I figured I'd have some firsthand uh experience with that.
So I'll say right now, if you have firsthand experience, I want to hear about policies that both administrations did. I want to see numbers that correlate with those policies with overall gas production. I want to hear like what regulations were there or were not there. I don't want to hear just about personal experience.
Well, their policies did affect my wages, uh,
Okay.
and the amount of drilling sites that we had at the time.
Drilling sites. Are you talking about a certain state or nationally?
Oh, it's a national company. I worked for Neighbors, which is the largest land-based oil company in America.
Okay. And what Biden policy did he put into place that affected your wages?
Well, when they brought the tax regulation back on oil and gas, we actually, I was actually let go 2 years ago uh, because they were doing employee cuts because they just weren't allowed to drill more sites.
Um, what year was that you said you got let go?
2022.
So in 2022, um, do you ever blame the company or do you blame the government?
I would blame the government in this.
Okay, so even if the gas and oil industry had record profits during that year, you're gonna blame the government. And also, I am gonna ask which regulation they brought back, or do you mean the elimination of subsidies? I'm trying to see.
It was the elimination of subsidies.
The IRA introduced a federal fee on methane emissions from oil and gas operations starting in 2024. So that starts in 2024. EPA rule on methane emissions in 2024 as well. I'm trying to find something that would have happened in 2022 that would have affected you.
Well, neighbors let go of 2,500 employees in that year.
2,500 employees. Okay. In 2022. I'm just
Yes.
trying to tie it back to policy that the administration did that would have caused that. Because we have big tech layoffs, we have layoffs in every industry, and largely it's because they want to be more efficient. And by efficient, they mean they want to make sure there's no unions so they can fire workers whenever they want to with no repercussion.
Well, we've never had that in the oil and gas industry. It's always been a workers first. You know, uh, we had record hirings every year during the Trump administration, especially the year that the the he cut taxes, and it gave the billionaires more money, but we were able to hire a lot more employees. I actually got a big raise out of that, which was quite nice.
Okay, I'm just not finding what policies would have correlated directly to what experience you're talking about. Why you would have been let go in 2022. I'm just trying to find out like what Biden would have done to ruin that, especially when, like I was saying, like gas and oil drilling has not had any issue at all. But it seems like Neighbors Oil. I mean, I'm not seeing the greatest things about his company, about this company, as far as how they treat workers.
Uh, Perhaps not.
I would blame the company
But
though.
I
Like we're
think
talking
I
about like these people who are making billions of dollars off the back of workers, not respecting workers, union busting, not paying workers higher wages, and instead of, instead of taking profits and maybe just keeping their wages or keeping their salaries, the corporate CEO board salaries where they are, they would rather cut 2,500 hardworking Americans instead because that's more efficient for that company. So I'd blame the private company in this situation. I don't know why we're blaming the government for something that these robber barons and
but
oligarchs are doing.
it's also because we were buying much more oil from overseas instead of wanting to build more sites because the oil company itself bases its employees if they can drill more sites to drill more oil, then they will have employees. But the
They
second
had
that
more
they
sites
don't,
to drill in America. Gas and oil companies had more sites to drill, but ExxonMobil said we are not opting to drill anymore because they wanted to operate at the capacity they were already at. So, for example, we need refineries to use crude oil, obviously, as gas and as heating. We can't use crude oil for anything without refineries. But ExxonMobil and other big gas and oil companies made an economic decision to not build more refineries. So that has nothing to do with the government, what these private companies decided to do with their billions of profits.
well, I think everything's directly tied to the government.
Yeah, and if the government does something bad, usually it's because there's a lobbyist paying them to. But I'm trying to find out what policy they would have done that would have affected this one gas and oil company when we drilled more oil under Biden than Trump. So I'm just trying to think because we drilled more oil. We were peak energy independence in 2023. That would have been right after 2022, and also we drilled more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined at one point. So I'm just trying to locate where this issue is.
Well, we've been drilling more oil and gas than all these other countries.
But
It
according
may
to
not
right
be.
wing media, we hit record high energy independence in America, beating our records in the past 70 years. So the right wing framing and the corporate media framing is that America drills no oil and Biden and Harris stopped oil drilling, which is not true. They did not let more federal land be used, but all the contracts that were still put in motion, Kamala Harris signed a record number of oil drilling contracts. As vice president, they passed a record number of policies to increase production of oil, of gas and oil. So I'm just trying to think again. You say it's tied back to politics, but we're having these high oil numbers, all-time highs, more than Trump, much more than Trump. Why is Biden Harris being blamed for being anti-oil when there's zero evidence of that?
Well, I just you know, it's just in my, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm a big policy genius because I'm not. I'm an average, cold-blooded American like anybody else. I, you know, I only know what affects me, and I don't know why specifically that I made hand over fist more money when Trump was in office. Maybe it's because the private company likes him better. I don't know.
No,
Because
the
I'm
private
I just
company
say
just
I'm
doesn't care about workers, and you're blaming the government because the private companies, these corrupt private companies, love it when you wake up and blame the government for you being fired or for you having lower wages because you're blaming government officials and you're not blaming CEOs, you're not blaming corporate boards, you're not blaming lobbyists. And some lobbyists are good. Some lobbyists actually do lobby for good purposes, but you're not blaming corporate lobbyists who operate on a for-profit basis against Americans' goodwill and against Americans' interest. You're not blaming the people who are making these actual decisions. You're buying into the propaganda that these oil companies, the Koch brothers, for example, fund right wing media to run this interference to make sure people don't blame the actual issues, to make sure they blame government instead of blaming the private company that reduced your wages or cut you or dropped you and your personal experience as well. I'm sympathetic. I'm very sympathetic to your personal experience. But we need to, when we're acting like we're talking about policies, we're talking about facts, logic. We're talking about stats. We're not really talking about personal experience and how we feel about something. So I just ask when we have policy conversations about this that we look into it, we understand what policies had what outcomes. That's my only ask for people, and I'm completely sympathetic.
Okay,
I have a lot of training in policy. I have a lot of training in policy, but and I
I
don't talk about that
I
because people will tell me I'm dumb because I have degrees, so I just don't talk about it. But I have enough training in policy, and it's still complicated. It's still not easy to decipher what's true, what's not true, what data to trust, what data to not trust. But probably what we should stay away from is saying things and having opinions based on the things we can't really prove.
okay. So I'd like to move. I I give you that all of that. I'd like to move to the second thing that I had was after the oil and gas industry, or well, actually while I was in it, I got into. I am a owner operator of a small trucking company. We have 20 trucks, haul refrigerated loads all through the U.S. Right? There was a policy when Trump got in. I can't remember if it was 2016, 2017, where he gave, and this helped me so much in my business, where there was a $75,000 tax credit for buying a commercial semi truck, right? For uh, I mean, each truck that
What
you
is the
buy, you
total
got
cost
75.
usually?
It's around $190,000.
And there's a $75,000 tax credit from the federal government or from a state.
Yes, this was the federal government
Okay, for 18
for
wheelers. Did you
purchasing.
say?
Yes, for purchasing a tractor, which is what we call it.
Okay.
And in when and that stayed throughout all 4 years of his presidency. And I don't know particularly what happened to that, but they got rid of that, which I understand. There's big truck companies, just like any other business. There's massive trucking companies that are gonna benefit more from that than I did, but I don't understand why they got rid of it because it was. I mean, we had so many little trucking companies, and trucking is one of the backbones of America.
Okay, I
If
understand, but
you go,
again, we don't know what happened here. So, like, I don't know what we can talk about here because there's no evidence of any tax credit being removed by Biden and Harris concerning what you said, tractors or 18 wheelers or trucks for your trucking company. I have no idea what happened. I don't know what the policy is they're talking about. I don't see any evidence of it. So I just don't know. Like, do you have a main point for bringing this up?
well, you know, if they're for, small business, like they say, why is that tax credit gone? And there was not a trace of it.
There's
I've
no, I
never been
can't
able to
find a
find
tax credit
out.
that they removed concerning trucks, 18 wheel. I just can't find a tax credit. I have no evidence this exists. So you might be complaining about something that's not real. I don't know. I don't know why they removed it because
Well,
they might not have removed it. There's no evidence of it. We're talking about concepts of ideas. Like I don't even know what we're talking about.
no, this is not a concept. This was a real thing. I
No, you're
bought
saying
20
I
trucks.
understand. Okay, I understand there might have been a change in something, but there's no evidence that Biden and Harris took aim at the 18-wheeler industry or trucking company. So like, you understand what I mean? Because I'm trying to find what policy you're talking about, but you're blaming again with no evidence. You're blaming these politicians for this without knowing. Like, I would just recommend doing some research on what that might be.
Hold on. I have the right here. Okay, 2016, a federal motor carrier tax credit for purchasing tractor
Okay, 2016 federal motor
carrier
carrier tax credit. 2016 federal motor carrier tax credit. Okay. Um.
for car for car for tractors.
Uh, um, yeah, I don't know. I can't really. What does the policy say? And I'm gonna go on to another caller then, but I just want to wrap up this topic quick.
Yeah, it says for any businessman or owner operator buying a semi, tractor, or trailer shall get a $75,000 tax credit in the following fiscal year.
Okay. And that was in 2016. I have no evidence that Biden Harris got rid of a tax credit, so I mean, uh, I don't see any federal tax credits from 2016 regarding 18 wheelers or tractors. Um, there was something for small businesses in general, so maybe there was a small business tax credit that was used to distribute buying multiple tractors for the business. That's one guess I would have, but there's nothing for just like if I want to have an independent company, if I want to be an independent person who takes contracts, right, with 18 wheeler, which I've had family who does that, for example. I don't see anything for that, so it might just be a general small business loan. But anyways, thank you for hopping on here. I really appreciate you calling in and being willing to talk about these topics. Yeah, definitely feel free to call in again sometime. Hope you stay around the channel. We actually have a lot of conservatives in our Discord and around our community,
I'm
so
not,
we could
and
have
I'm
different
not a
conversations.
conservative. Don't get me wrong. I am not a conservative. I would say I'm right down the middle of the aisle. It's anywhere else. I just want America to be pushing towards the right angle. I don't know if you saw the Trump universal health care thing that they're talking about now.
Where are they talking about a Trump universal healthcare thing?
I watched it on CNN a while back. They were talking about it. There's nothing set in stone, but I really hope that that keeps in that direction.
So
Because I think that'd be
you're in favor of universal healthcare,
it's got to be done. It has to be done right. Has to be done right.
and you think Trump is in
Uh,
favor of universal healthcare?
I he has never came out and said it. I heard that he talked about it on CNN. So you know, it's a big news company. You never know. They may be pulling it out of their hat. But if if America wants it, I believe that he will try and do it. And I think America wants it and America needs it because health insurance is way too expensive. I mean, I have 32 employees and my cost for healthcare is absolutely astounding.
Yeah, that was one argument for Medicare for All that Bernie Sanders made is that his
I
Medicare for
love
All
Bernie
system.
Sanders.
You love Bernie Sanders. Okay. That's one big argument he made is that Medicare for All would really help small businesses because you have to provide healthcare, or maybe some businesses are too small to help out as much as they want to. So Medicare for All would take a lot of money off of big business and small businesses back, because employers would no longer have to provide healthcare. But yeah, it's interesting. I've never seen evidence that Donald Trump is in favor of universal healthcare. If I do see that, I'll be excited, but I don't know who could have said that anywhere because I'm pretty sure he called it socialism and communism, and he said it's evil, and he said Americans need to keep their private healthcare, and he tried getting rid of Obamacare, and he wants to cut Medicare and Social Security and Medicaid. He tried to in every single budget that he passed. But you are the second caller in a row who seems to at least generally support Trump, who said he's in favor of universal health care. So that's two callers in a row that heard Trump was in favor of universal health care. Well, thank you for calling in. I hope you have a great night. Yeah, definitely feel free to hop on sometime.
Yep, no problem, bud.
All right, have a
You
good
have
one.
a good one.
I'm gonna go crazy, dude. Two in a row. Two in a row that are in favor of universal health care, and they think Donald Trump wants to do universal health care. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna go insane. I'm gonna go insane. I'm gonna lose it. Well, what am I gonna do? What am I supposed to do to combat this? He said he heard it on CNN somewhere, and CNN heard it from somewhere. Starting January 1st, I will be taking calls from anyone starting at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Eastern Time live on my channel. Make sure you subscribe. I want to see you there. And if you want to support this work, $2.99, $3 a month to support this channel through the channel memberships. Down below, you can leave a tip on the video, a tip through Patreon, Coffee, or any other app, Venmo, Droll Out Politics. Please consider supporting my channel. I will keep doing this, but yeah, I'm excited to keep seeing you around. Thank you.